it didn't say Pianetta is live. Oh. Okay. Hi, folks. Here we are.
Did it say live? Okay.
Alrighty, folks. Sorry it's taken us so long. Caitlin is at the winery coming down from San Miguel. She was doing a barrel tasting with some people, and they ended up signing up for the wine club, and life was very good. We have
Stand-in.
Stand-in. Look at you. You're trying to get behind.
Oh, I didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah, you did. Let's do over here. So John can be on my side. So
Caitlin.
we're going to talk a little bit about Cabernet for right now until Caitlin gets here. She's bringing down the bottle of Malbec that we're going to be talking about. And if you have any questions, just pop on, let us know. But for right now, we're going to, whoops, sorry, I'm being that. So we're going to talk a little bit about Cabernet.
Cabernet.
And you know, Cabernet is one of the largest grapes to be planted all over the world.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest grape. Cab and Chardonnay are like huge. So that's why when you go out, a lot of people, that's all they really know is either do you have a Cabernet or a Chardonnay, because they're some people are just used to that, seeing that on your menu every time.
Pinot Noir too, but that's not as widely grown.
Well, Pinot Noir is actually, it's widely grown in France. It's very known in France, and then when it's planted here, but because Pinot Noir is such a thin-skinned grape, it is really sensitive on where you can grow it. So it's amazing that we can grow Pinot here in Paso Robles, in some parts of Paso, because we have the coastal influence that keeps the grapes nice and cool. And for those of you just joining us, Caitlin is on her way. We are going to be talking about Malbec, but she got held up at the winery, so she'll be here in a few minutes. So bear with us, because we are going to be talking about Malbec, which we're very excited about, because we're going to be releasing a new Malbec, and the Malbec is going to be joining the Pianetta wine line, along with Cab Franc. So those are going to be our two new ones that we're releasing this summer, and I have to tell you, the Cab Franc is tasting nicely, and I'm going to try to twist Caitlin's arm a little bit so we can release that sooner.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's so nice. It's so nice. So Malbec, it's the most widely planted grape in Argentina, is where it came, and that is the main place where Malbec came from. But it did come in the way of kind of like the back door of France, and it's called from the part of France, Côte.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so it did come through the back door in France, so France did get a little taste of it, and so that's why in Bordeaux you'll find Malbec in a Bordeaux blend, because it is a blending grape. But Argentina, it's solid. They like to drink their straight up Malbecs, and you can get a really nice Malbec from Argentina, very inexpensive, which is very nice. For some reason, I guess because it's so widely produced there, it's a lot less expensive to get an Argentinian Malbec than it is for us to grow Malbec here. And
yeah, I don't see it. Actually, the first time I had it was in Ashland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winery. Okay, you know
Yeah,
the winery.
I know exactly. I love that winery.
But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's up on the hill. Starts with a W.
Yeah.
But Caitlin is on her way, so bear with us. She should be here in a few minutes. So we are talking about Malbec. One thing that I love about Malbec is, well, let's finish. So it's mostly grown in Argentina, and then France, and then a little bit of California. We are like a sliver. So or in the United States is basically what they're saying. So the United States we're just a sliver of Malbec. And
I just realized we're not 6 feet apart.
Oh, anyway, so with the Malbec that I love is, so a lot of times you'll get a nice little, a wonderful finish. It doesn't have a long lingering finish like you would get with a Cabernet or a Merlot. It kind of falls off, but that's okay because Malbec is the kind of wine that you would like to do it with leaner meats. So not so fatty meats and stuff. So a Malbec would pair very well with like a filet mignon because there's no fat to it.
Oh, okay.
So, or a London broil.
Oh, I love those.
So nothing with a lot of fat. So with a leaner meat, Malbec is phenomenal with it. It's not super big. It doesn't have a whole lot of tannin to it. So that's why it goes really well with the leaner meats. So, but anyways, Caitlin and I and actually Anna, we did get to bottle this back in March. I think it was right when this whole pandemic started, and luckily we had our wine club, and then we bottled our new Malbec. We bottled this Altitude that John is supporting right now, and he actually is the one that blended it. And then we did our Cab Franc, and then we did another one, and it's with Honor Flight, which I'm very excited about. It's called Lee's Legacy, and that's another one that John made, and that has Barbera, and I think it has Malbec, it has Cab, and Petite Syrah in it. So really fun blend there. But for those of you just joining us, like I told you before, Caitlin is on her way. She was stuck up at the winery doing barrel tasting, and she is, the people wanted to sign up, and you know how Caitlin is. She's very, very attentive to the people, and she lost track of time, which,
we got this.
yes, we got this. So if there's any questions, I have you guys up, so if you're interested in asking any questions about Malbec or about any of the other wines that we make, just shoot them up, and I have you up and running at beautiful Hollywood Park if you're interested in it. But another thing about Malbec that I really like is it is a very versatile grape, because Malbec is used like in blending. So if there is a wine that somebody's making and it's not there's something missing about it, that's where like the Malbec and the Grenache and the Barberas come in, because they're that kind of grape that doesn't get the respect that it's earned, but it does a whole lot. It'll give that wine a little bit better structure. It'll give it a little flavor. It actually gives the wine what it's missing. And so that's what I like about blending grapes. And they're great on their own, but they really do very well when it comes to blending.
Yes. I like Malbec. Do we know if do you know if Oregon has more like growth in Malbec than California?
No, because the United States it's very sliverous. So when it says, let's see, let me see here if I can find. So actually, no, it doesn't even mention the United States as even growing Malbec. So it talks more about Argentina, the number one, France is number two, and then of course the United States is hustling in there at number three. But I want to say the terroir has a lot to do with how to grow Malbec. Oregon is a lot cooler, you know, so I would assume that Malbec kind of likes that cooler weather. I'm not really sure if it's a fussy grape, but all I know that a lot of people have tried to grow it and make it in the past, but sometimes it's just a little bit more expensive here in the United States to make wine as it would be in Argentina. You can get a Reserva Argentina Malbec for like $15 or $20.
Wow.
And that's very hard to compete with. So a lot of people have chose not to grow that particular grape because you could get more for a bang for your buck with a Cab or a Merlot or something that's more widely spread. But, and like I said, I'm sure I'm repeating myself, but Caitlin Pianetta is on her way. She got stuck up at the winery. She had some tasters up there for doing some barrel tasting. And of course, once you barrel taste, everybody always wants to sign up for the wine club because the wines are so good. And when you taste it out of the barrel, you can taste the potential, you know that the bottles of wine are going to be phenomenal. So
we should,
hi Jeff and Nancy.
We want to put this up on Facebook or YouTube later. We should take a photo of us.
Oh, okay.
No, and then we can
we're going to take a photo of us. So anyways, if you have any questions about Malbec, that's what we're doing tonight. Shoot your questions. Like I said earlier, Malbec is a wonderful, wonderful grape that sometimes just doesn't get the recognition that you would want. In a way, a lot of people sometimes, like a Grenache, Malbec, they don't get the respect that the grape has earned. But it's a lot of people do try to grow it, and then when they do make it, it's a phenomenal wine, and you can get like some nice chocolate on it. You can get a little bit of the sweet tobacco, so you get those kind of earthy tastes when you drink a Malbec. So one thing I love about my Malbec is I love it with a nice lean steak like I was talking about. But if you guys like blue cheese, melted blue cheese over some bread with Malbec, it's like, my mouth is watering. It's like a match made in heaven. So melted blue cheese and some Malbec, try it. You're gonna go,
that's definitely something to tell customers.
Yes, it's very good, very good. So it's a great, because Malbec can stand up to that, because I know a lot of people don't like blue cheese.
I didn't until I had good blue cheese.
Yeah, good blue cheese, it could be a little pungent, but when you pair that with a wine, it's gonna calm that blue cheese down a little bit, and it's gonna taste amazing. They both, the mouth watering of the wine and the bread and the blue cheese is amazing.
Blue cheese.
So just to let you know, Caitlin I can think that she just arrived. I've never known anybody to drive down from the ranch and to be here in our tasting room in 12 minutes. And look at this. Here she is. 12 minutes and counting.
Winery direct to you.
Yes.
Well, this is not how it's supposed to be planned. This is not released yet, and Dad took this to dinner last night.
I know, and I was like, where's the wine?
I had one here, and he took it. If you guys didn't see his little, I'm going to go use the restroom.
Okay,
But
I'd grab one.
that is the Malbec,
All right.
2018.
Okay, so we're very excited because we're going to try this, and we're keeping our fingers crossed because I don't want to release anything earlier than it should, because I really feel the first taste that you try is going to be the one that you're going to remember. So that's one reason why I really enjoy having the wine be ready before you release it. There is a lot of wineries out there that will release a wine is because they don't have any more of that vintage or the older vintage, and they're running out. And so a lot of times they'll release wines that are not ready. And I really love about Pianetta, Caitlin and John, they'll hold it until it's ready, and they'll make sure that your first taste is going to be wonderful. So here's the Malbec. Anna's tasting the Malbec, and Caitlin is here. Just to let you know, if you guys first joined us, Caitlin is here. She showed up. She had a wine tasting up at the ranch, barrel tasting. She signed up somebody for the wine club, and she made it down here from the ranch which is normally 25-minute drive. She made it here in 12 minutes. She must have flown her father's plane here and landed it on 13th Street. So that's how come she made it here so quickly. So she is here. She'll be able to answer any other of more of your questions. But like I said before, Malbec, I love it because it came by, it started in Argentina. It decided to take a vacation. It went to France for a little bit, went to Côte France, and they fell in love with it. They thought they were related, and so they figured they would stay a while, and then they planted the grapes in Malbec in France, and then it decided to come over here to the United States. But amazing grape, amazing wine.
This is a really pretty color.
So
Immediately when it went into the glass.
and one thing I like, okay, so I'm drinking the Cab and then the Malbec. I don't know if you guys could see, but the difference in the color,
yeah.
you could see how huge. You would think that the Malbec would be bigger and bolder and have a longer finish than a Cabernet, but it's not like that. It doesn't have a long lingering finish, and that's why it goes really good with the lean
Hey,
meats.
man, why are you in? Why are you doing
I wasn't planning on actually being in the video.
You just want to be the voice off screen?
Well,
I think you should come in.
no, Anna just moved, and so I have a pile of boxes
Well,
waiting
where
for
are
me.
you, Kate? You need to come
I'm
in.
here.
Oh. Hi, Caitlin.
This is Caitlin now. We did Trading Places.
Okay, so I've been talking, so I'm sure you can hear, so take it away.
I haven't, I was driving, so I didn't want to watch.
I didn't want to watch.
I had a barrel tasting earlier and was supposed to be back down by 5:30 and stole the iPad as well by accident. Well, not by accident, I had to have it, but great barrel tasting. And if any of you guys have ever done a barrel tasting, you know how sometimes you can get carried away. Not that it was that carried away, but
And
they
somebody to
couldn't
sign up?
decide. Yeah, so they were signing up for the wine club and were trying to decide which wines and things. I mean, I stopped at the correct time. It's just it's hard to try to choose which wines you want.
And you know one thing, I've been barrel tasting.
Everything is delicious.
And I've been barrel tasting with you, which I love, because you
Fun.
start off with one and then you get so excited about barrel tasting because, let me try this one. And she'll go up and grab the thief, take like a cab out of a Hungarian barrel, put it in your glass, and then go around and take a cab out of the French barrel and blend them together. And you taste the one that's a single, but then when you blend the two barrels together, it's so much fun.
A lot of fun nuances, and this is the first time they had done. So, at any rate, but I apologize. But actually, we are quite lucky that I was up there because we were going to do the Malbec, and I had brought a bottle down, and it was on my desk. And last night, there must have been something that happened between last night and this morning because Bonnie said the bottle wasn't there when we started the program.
Well, I remember what had happened.
So I had to grab another one.
We were like, where's
They,
Malbec?
your father was going to dinner with
I know who the culprit is too.
and they said, oh, we're gonna have one for dinner.
Yeah, so as you guys all know, the restaurants have reopened at 50% capacity, and Dad was so excited to go out to dinner. And the growers, actually, who grow this Malbec, were in the tasting room last night. And so I believe that's why he stole my Malbec. Although he never even told me.
Dad did?
No, he never told me that that's the bottle. I thought, whatever. Anyways, bygones. So let's talk Malbec.
This smells like gummy bears.
Anna says gummy bears.
I like gummy bears.
So we talked about, did you guys talk about like Malbec it is one of the Bordeaux, correct? That's correct.
Yes, so it originated, of course it originated in Argentina. And
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's where it originated?
yes, and it came through France, Côte France.
Fun
You
fact.
saying it right?
Côte de France.
Well, here, I'll show you.
C-O-T-E is Côte.
Côte, yeah, with that little thing on the top. See?
I'm like Cabernet. Oh, that's, wait, hold on. Oh, no. Argentina. So Malbec is real popular. So the way that reads,
Oh, so I read it wrong.
it's the opposite. No, but
I'm-
Malbec in Argentina is very popular, and Argentina being like kind of a newer world wine region, the popular varieties coming out of Argentina, Malbec is one of the most popular that they export. But it did start in France.
Start in France, Côte France, and then
it's a Bordeaux grape.
right. I knew that, but I thought that it started in Argentina and way back and when, and then it stopped to visit its cousin.
Oh, what's its cousin?
Its cousin is Malbec.
Yeah, what I find interesting, so in Bordeaux, like you have a lot of it's all the blends.
Right.
So Cabernet is a big dominant one, Merlot is a big dominant, but no one ever sees 100% Malbec.
No.
It's rare, right?
I was telling Bonnie the first time I had heard or tried it was in Ashland, Oregon.
Oh, was it from Oregon as well? Yeah. Oh,
It was
interesting.
good. I liked it.
There's like some warmer areas of Oregon that they grow a lot of the Syrah that does well. I didn't realize they were doing a lot of the Malbec. A lot of people know Oregon for the Pinots.
Yeah,
That's way more north.
Ashland is it's a great little it's where Shakespeare in the Park starts,
Yes.
and it's but you have to really like Shakespeare.
They have some other place there too.
Yeah. But anyways, that we know about the winery too, that we were talking about. I know the winery that she had.
What did you think of it?
It was a few years ago, but I definitely remember thinking that it was very new because I was still really new to wine at the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I was working here actually, but still, and so I was very intrigued by it. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Okay, I retarded. Now I read
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
Now,
No,
it
it's
came
okay.
by the way of France. So it started in France, and then Argentina stole it. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's fine. I will say I love Malbec from Argentina. So if you're ever going out to dinner and you see, like South American wines on the menu, you really can't go wrong with a Malbec. I've not ever been disappointed.
And that's one of the widely planted grapes in Argentina. But it's their number one. It's your number one, Joe.
Number one.
And
Numero uno.
oh no, who knows? But Malbec is a Bordeaux grape, but it like I was talking earlier. Malbec doesn't get the respect that it has as a
Kind of like, so would you put this in the same category as your Cab Franc fetish? Like the friendship that you have with the Cab Franc?
I think that I would put this more in the category of a Grenache.
I
Oh,
love Grenache.
Because Grenache and Malbec don't get the respect that they've earned as a
respect.
yeah. So as a single varietal, when you find a single varietal Malbec or a single varietal Cab Franc or Grenache and it's good, that's amazing because where they got the grapes, where it's grown, how it was made, they did it perfect. Because those are just grapes, like I always think of them as if you're blending something and something's missing, it's the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little Malbec. Give me a little Petit.
Yeah, and those have always been blending grapes. I mean, they're in small quantities too. So, most every French grape originated as a blending grape, of course, because everything in France is typically originated as blends from a region.
Right.
But with this one, it's like just like Petite Syrah. It's kind of like a dabble do ya. Like you don't need much Petite Syrah in a blend to change a characteristic. But when you have those blending varietals, like you mentioned, like Cab Franc, Malbec, Petite Syrah, it's really interesting. It's kind of like Mourvedre in a Rhone.
Exactly.
You don't see them very often, but sometimes they're really good.
Exactly. Petit Verdot.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's another
that's a Rhone. I mean, not a Rhone, it's a Bordeaux. But you know one thing I like about when you're talking about, Merlot, that Merlot is a blending grape. That's why, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Sideways, the guy was so hip on the Pinot. Pinots are like the God's gift to Christ when it comes to wine.
It's true.
And they, and Merlot, he's no drinking, no speaking Merlot. Well, because it was a blending grape, but
It killed the market.
it killed,
Well, I'm going to say this about that.
it overproduced.
I feel so bad for Merlot growers because it did hurt the Merlot market. No one was buying Merlot or drinking Merlot.
Exactly.
However, those of us who do like Merlot, now all of a sudden you're able to get some delicious Merlots at very reasonable prices.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to talk, to just, that's something that you can look at. So when you're going wine tasting, and you're seeing that, you know, these wines are expensive, if there's a Merlot on there, I guarantee it's gonna be like $10 less. Then, so if you like Merlot, and you like that Merlot, buy it over the Cab, buy it over the other ones, because why
You won't be
spend
disappointed.
$10, $20 more, and then you're getting your bang for your buck right there.
Absolutely. So Jeff Nichols, thank you for the comment. His comment. I thought France had a disease that sent Malbec vines to Argentina. Oh, and sent Malbec vines to Argentina. Then French sent winemakers to produce wine there. All of the grape would survive. Still learning. That's interesting. I'll have to look at it. That rings a bell. But yeah, France. So basically, I mean, everyone probably wants to take credit, especially California. So Phylloxera basically took over France and all the vineyards, and of course all these old vineyards, all the vines, and that, I can't remember the exact years, but it basically riddled most of France and the growing region. So I know that California, and this is kind of part of like UC Davis with all of that DNA testing and origin testing on the clones that we have. California sent a lot of the clones that people had taken here, sent them back so that France could replant the stuff in the original locations. But that's an interesting thing, and it makes complete sense that Argentina was growing Malbec, and then the French winemakers went down there to grow and make wine while France was regenerating. That makes sense, and it does ring a bell, and I'm going to look into that one a little bit more. Because I know that there's some great stories about that. But yeah, so I mean, obviously it takes a while. I mean, once you plant a vine, even if it's grafting, obviously no. Phylloxera is a disease and that goes into the rootstock, so they have to completely rip everything out. You can't just graft onto anything. So the plant, I mean, for the first 5 years, you're really not going to get any crops. So it takes a while.
And isn't it?
So what's a winemaker to do if they're out of work?
Drink what they have in the barrel?
But how do they work? How do they make the money? Kind of like everyone now with the corona, if you can't work from home, what do you do? They're gonna fly to Argentina though. I don't know if France had as great of unemployment.
I'm gonna have to look that up too, because usually.
I don't think they were getting the coronavirus bonus.
No, but what he is asking, thank you for that question, because I did not know that, and I should know that.
So now she's gonna go down to a research hole. I can see
red Malbec October.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like.
Hunting for red Malbec. Oh my god. But it's great, and that's like those times where I think like, you know, that's when you see there's so much competition in the industry because of everything, and especially, you know, even between New World, Old World, France, Spain, Italy, everyone. But you know, to see people come together to help a whole region come back to life is awesome. Way to go. Whether, you know, California, you know, as Californians, we'll take credit for anything that's positive. But I'm sure it was more of a worldwide effort too, because I know that there were a lot that went all over the place.
Well, I remember the disease happening. I remember that.
Phylloxera.
Yeah, and then I can remember us sending the clones over there. And I want to think sometimes, I know maybe there was just a couple of them. I think a few of the French weren't very happy about that because they don't really care for us Californians.
Yeah, the French.
They're the wheelies. No.
But you know, do the French like anything? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, no, they've always been very critical of California wines. But actually, this was a conversation I just had earlier. When you think about small wines, I would love to know the percentage of wine in Paso Robles alone that is exported to France. You know, very minimal. So when you think about what gets exported there, that's the wine that they were trying. It's the mass-produced stuff. Just like I always say, don't judge a region by what we taste here. If you're going to go to to Australia and you're like, well, I don't like Australian wines because I've had Yellowtail and I didn't like it. And it's like, well, Yellowtail's cute marketing, but it's kind of like the mass-produced wine of Australia.
Yeah, just like, yeah, just
I
like,
wouldn't say
like barefoot
you're
is
missing
our,
out on anything,
yeah,
But
it's
when-
an inex,
but try it. I mean, if you want,
it's an inexpensive, it's mass produced, so to me, I compare it to, Sutter Home or to Buckshot or Barefoot.
there's a place.
You know,
So it's
There's a place for it, but it may not be
you
my
know what
house.
this means?
What's that?
You have to fly to Australia.
So now we need to go.
All of the
We need to
wines.
go hunter gatherer.
Okay, there's some parts in Australia that I wanna go, I mean, like, I wanna go to the Barossa Valley, I wanna go to, Tasmania.
Ooh.
Cause Tasmania, they're known for like, sparkling and stuff like that too.
You know what they do make in Australia is sparkling reds, and it's not as sweet.
Right.
It is just like a sparkling Shiraz, or I bet you they even
I
make
need
it
to talk,
sparkling
you know,
Malbec.
Steinbeck's,
Mhm.
my friend Brian, he married one of the daughters, and he actually, when I worked with him at Pomar, he went over to Australia to learn about the sparkling and stuff like that. And while he was there, cause he was the assistant winemaker for Pomar, he went over there for their harvest.
Yeah, which is opposite of ours.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so while he was there, the winemaker got sick, and so then they made, he was helping out, and then some other person quit, so he ended up becoming the head winemaker of
Did he
this.
ever come back? I don't know if I'd want to come
He
back.
didn't want to, but, he had kids and the family said,
No.
they made him an
The
offer
anchor.
he can't
Anchor
refuse.
baby. I'm just kidding.
So, but he did really well, he learned so much over there, and, I thought that was very interesting, he was the one that told me about those sparklings that you were talking about.
I've known a lot. It's awesome. It's a great opportunity, and if you can, like, there are so many, and Australia, they're a little more open to a lot of that, making it part of your lifestyle. So I know that a lot of people go to Australia to work a harvest.
Yeah.
And I know that they pay, I don't know if you get paid, but they have places on site, so you live at the vineyard or winery, and it's awesome. So it's a great opportunity. But getting back to the Malbec, let's talk. I need
Malbec,
another
sorry.
splash. We're going to talk about the flavors we're getting,
Sorry.
and then we're going to get everyone's opinion on if this wine. Now, I did just open this. So one of the things when we're looking at releasing a wine,
My opinion, I don't think this needs to be decanted.
okay,
That's just my opinion, because to me, it has the flavors,